To our review, we're on question 21, and I see we're still doing things related to chapter 1, but that's okay. Again, we want to develop a strategy for doing these. And on your blue sheet, as you take your final, you will write the answers or the examples, sort of like this. And you want a strategy now to do this. Well, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We want to do what is in parentheses, exponents first. So we have to clear parentheses, and we're going to do the multiplication. So a negative here times a negative will make this a positive. So this will become a negative 8 plus 12 on top. So that's your next step. And there, same thing here. Positive, a negative times a negative gives you a positive. So this is going to be 8 plus 6. So this will then become a 4. And this will become a 14. And now you want to simplify. And 2 will go into there twice. 2 will go into there 7. So our answer is 2 7ths. And we got that right. Now a football team lost 6 yards on each of 3 consecutive plays. Represent the total change as a product of signed numbers, and then find the total loss. Which of the following expressions represents the total change as a product of signed numbers? As you do examples like this, you're going to maybe have to read them more than once. But I think I have this one, so let's go on. So, a team lost 6 yards on 3 consecutive plays. So 3 consecutive plays, and they lost 6. So I would write it like that. And as I look here, I don't see anything like that. The closest one to it is this one, and lost 6 yards. In a sense, that would be better than what I've done. And then 3. Okay, so I believe it's D. And we did that. Now, when you actually do the operation, this is going to be a negative 18. Ooh, maybe I didn't read it right here. So 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Again, I didn't read it too carefully. Notice what they're saying here. Since they have lost here as part of the statement, I can't put that negative there, so I have to change my answer here and take out that negative sign. Now I check the answer. So again, as you do your practice as part of your review, you need to read the questions carefully, because lost was included. Now, if I looked at that, if that was one of your final tests, could I possibly give you partial credit? Probably. I would give you partial credit. Now they're asking us to use the commutative property to complete the statement. Now, they do give a few of these, so let's just review them quickly here. A plus B equals B plus A. A times B equals B times A. So this is the commutative property of addition. This is the commutative property of multiplication. So that's what they're asking us here. So we just switch the order of the letters. So here we're going to write SU. Okay. Now here we're using the distributive property without parentheses. And I probably could write these right in there. But again, on your blue sheets, you're going to have to write the problem, show the work. So let's just review the process here. So it's 4 times 7 is 28. And then x, 28x. Then we put a plus sign. And then 4 times 5 is 20. And that looks good. And again, check your answers. You have it on your blue sheet. You have it there. Be sure it's your best effort. Now here they're asking to choose the property illustrated by the following statement. And what are they asking here? Well, we have, let me write it out here. 4 times y times 2 equals 4 times y times 2. Now, as far as you can see, has the order been changed? 4y2, 4y2. No. So what is the obvious change? The placement of the grouping symbols, the parentheses. So here we're grouping these together, and then we're switching the grouping to the last two. First two, last two. So which property is this? And it's the associative property. So we put a dot right there and check our answer. Okay. Now here they're asking us to give the numerical coefficient. And a quick review of this, if we have a term like a negative 2x to the 4th, the numerical coefficient would be what is in front of the x. That's the variable. The 4 was the exponent, and the x only is the base of that exponent. So in this case, the numerical coefficient, there is no number, but we know a 1 always goes there. So the numerical coefficient is negative 1. And we check our answer, and that's good. Now simplify the expression by combining any like terms. A strategy here is, what are your like terms? Well, it's this, this, this. Any variable which is with the same exponent. These are all like terms. So one way to do it is to do it vertically. We have a 1m We have a 9m, we have a 5m, and these are all plus, and we have a negative 4. So this is 10, 15, 15m minus 4. And you're looking for a strategy that will work for you. Now here we are to simplify the expression, and we can just do it here. 5 times d is 5d. 5 times a negative 4 is a negative 20 plus 9. So here we probably could do that mentally. We get 5d minus 11. Just combining these like terms. Write the phrase as an algebraic expression and simplify if possible. Let x represent the unknown number. Okay, let's try this one here. 3 times a number, so 3 times a number. There's our number, 3 times a number, decreased by 4. So 3 times a number decreased by 4 looks like this first one here. But again, you may not have to write this out, but physically write it out on your blue sheet so you have a record of what you've been doing. All right, we're solving equations now. And again, you want to copy the example down. X, let's see, 4 plus x equals a negative 8. And whatever technique you use, give it your best effort. Minus 4, x equals negative 12. Or you could have just transposed the 4 and got a negative 4 on that side. Again, you want to give it your best effort and have it correct. Alright, so x equals negative 12. Write the example down and number them, of course. 6x equals 0. So this would be number 31. Again, I haven't been doing that, but that's what you should be doing on your blue sheet. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. Remember, 6 is the numerical coefficient of x. To get rid of it, we divide it by that. So these cancel out. X equals 0. Okay, they're getting a little more complex. So, first, be sure you copy it correctly. Yes, now I'm going to group like terms. So this is going to be a negative 14x. This is going to be a plus 4. Equals 6. We want to isolate the x, so I guess I can subtract 4 here, subtract 4 there. Well, I don't need to put that equal sign there. So now this gives me a negative 14x equals 2. Now I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 14. So this makes this a positive x. This makes this a negative 1/7. So x will be a negative 1/7. Now remember, you can always go back and look at this again. To check it out. Okay, let's just do these. Again, if I just talk it through, it just takes up a little more time, but x is 1 here. So this equation has fractions, and in our protocol for solving equations with fractions, we want to get rid of our denominators and make them all 1s. So the rule is we multiply each term by your lowest common denominator. Well, this one's easy because there's only a denominator of 3. So we're going to multiply everything by 3, every term. And here, they just all cancel out. So our basic equation then is 2x plus 4 equals a negative 8. So we're going to transpose the 4. On this side it becomes a negative 4, so this is a negative 12. 2x, divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 6. Now you'll notice, and you should also be improving your skills at solving equations, that you can skip a few steps. But if you have to write them out, be sure to do so. You want to get the right answer. Plug in there a negative 6 and check it. Yep, we're good. Okay, let's do this one here. And again, write the example on your blue sheet. Clear parentheses. And then 9 times is 63. And we're going to subtract our... Uh-oh. Now, when we did this, we end up with an untrue statement. Now, this is not true. When we are solving equations and end up with an untrue statement, there is no solution. All right, let's do this one. Again, what would our lowest common denominator be here? And it would be 4. So we have to multiply each term by 4 to get rid of all our fractions. See, what we're doing is making this equation larger by multiplying everything by 4. But in so doing, our equivalent equation does not have fractions. So this cancels out completely. This cancels, but we end up with a 2 there that we have to take care of. All right, now we're going to go 1 times 10y is 10y. 2 times 8, so what we have left is 16. And this is 8x minus 8. Well, what did we have here? I put a y there. Sorry about that. Okay, so we now take our 2x, or I guess it's 2y here. 2y to this side becomes a negative 8y, so we're left with 2y here. Getting carried away. Now we bring this from this side, it becomes a negative 16. So this gives us a negative 24 here. Then we divide both sides by 2. We get y equals negative 12. Oh, I've cleaned it up a little, so once again we copied it correctly. We're multiplying each term by the lowest common denominator. And once we did that, we simplified it. And then we have this. So we're going to move the 8y to this side as a negative 8y, end up with a 2y. Move the positive 16 to this side as a negative 16. We get a negative 24. Divide both sides by 2. We have y equals negative 12. I didn't put the 12 in there yet here. And there we go. Okay, write the following as an equation, then solve. All right, so again, we'll see what I would do as I read it. Four times the sum of negative 1 and the number. So as soon as we see the word sum, we have to include that within a parenthesis. So this is a sum. So that's what I have so far. Is equal to, that's pretty straightforward. 5 times the number increased by 1/4. So that's what I would get. So let's look at these. Well, it looks like it's A down here, so we'll put a dot on that for now. But they do want us to solve it. So once again, we're going to use the technique of getting rid of our fractions. Now the only fraction is 1/4. So our common denominator is 4. So this is one term, this is one term, this is all one term as well. So we're going to multiply each of these by 4, each term by 4. And then now the 4's cancel out. So this then becomes 16. And now we'll do that. So negative 1 times 16 is negative 16 plus 16x equals 5 times this is 20x plus 1. Now I want to try to keep my x's positive, so I'm going to subtract 16x from here and there, or just transpose it, and I get 4x. I'm going to transpose this to this side. This becomes a negative 17 on that side. So this here is a positive 1. On this side it becomes a negative. So negative 17 equals that. So our answer then, x, we're going to divide both sides, is a negative 17/4. So let's just keep that in mind as we put our answers in. So we're saying this is the answer for that. And our answer, we said, was negative 17/4. Put in our negative sign and put in 17/4. Okay. This is running a little long, but lots of stuff going on here. Okay, now here they're giving us a little background. They're saying consecutive integers. X is the first. This would be like a 5. Then 5 plus 1 is 6. 5 plus 2 is 7. Now they want us to find the sum of the first and second consecutive integer. Well, we'd have to add them. So our first one would be x plus 1. So remember, there are 1's in front of the x's, so this is 2x plus 1. So part of it is to read carefully and give them what they want. So 2x plus 1. 2x plus 1. All right. Now, to make an international phone call, you need the code of the country you're calling. These are 3 consecutive whole integers whose sum is this. Now, what we need is a formula. So the first country will be x, then x plus 1, and then x plus 2. These are 3 consecutive integers. So we get 3x plus 3 equals 111. 3x, we're going to subtract a 3 from both sides. We get 108. And we divide both sides by 3. So I'll use my trusty calculator. 108 divided by 3 is 36. So if this is 36, this one will be 37, and this will be 38. And if we add these 3 up, they add up to this. A way to check it, but this is the work. Now, again, you want partial credit on a question like this. You need to show the work. Even if you don't get the right answers, if you have set it up correctly, you can get partial credit. So 36 is our first one here. 36, 37, 38. Went overboard on typing that one in, and we have that. Okay, here we're asked to, did I skip one? I don't want to skip any. Oh. We want to solve for this formula, so let's write this out here. V equals 3 pi cx plus 3 pi c squared, and we want to solve it for x. Okay, now I'll put our x in red so we can keep track of it. Now, we want to isolate the x. So, we go v. We're going to take this and just bring it to the other side. When we do so, it becomes a negative. So just take this term, bring it to the other side, it just changes the sign. Now to isolate the x, these are all factors. We want to divide everything by what is with the x. So we divide the 3's out, the pi out, and the c out. Do the same thing to the other side. These all cancel out, and there's our answer. All right, let's put that in there. So there we have it. I've put it in there. It looks pretty good. We'll check our answer. And we got it right. All right, so this will be our second part where we've done examples 21 through 40.